All right, I think we're live. Hi, and welcome to tonight's Authentic Connection Games webinar. If you're here today, that means you are excited about creating meaningful relationships in your life, finding your authentic voice, and I'm so excited to go on this journey with you. I'm not sure if, we want to see if the chat box is working, so if you could post and 1111, maybe the number 1111 in the chat room if you can see me and hear me. And I want to see if I can see you and hear you. And let's see here. I'm not seeing any chat boxes popping up. So I'm not sure if we're having trouble or so if you're in here, feel free to post your name and say hi. There should be, there's a chat box to the right side, and we should be able to see you. So if you're in here, we're testing out our software and checking on whether this chat box is working. It's an important part of our webinar tonight. And we're using a new software this time, so it's a little bit different than last week or the last time that we had our Authentic Connection Games. But I'm not seeing anybody's chat pop up, so looks like we are having a hard time with that. So let me see what's going on. Hey, Michael, I can't see the chat box. Like, no, I can't. Come here. Sorry, I'm having to call in the recruitments for help because I'm not seeing the chat box. See, it just says. Oh, okay, I see you guys now. Thank you so much for sticking with us through that. I am new to this. Oh, good, now I'm seeing all the 1111s. Okay, great, sweet. I'm seeing the 1111s and I'm seeing your names. So, okay, cool. I thought I was in here by myself for a second. So thanks for posting your name, and feel free to say your name, where you're from, anything you'd like to share with us. And and again, yeah, so I see, okay, I see that we're posting now. All right, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and start and dive right in. I'm going to pull up this screen share, and don't worry, we're not gonna be on screen share for too long until we start doing some interacting. So again, if you are here today, then that means that you are interested in getting real tonight and authentically figuring out what's true for you, what's going on in your world. Okay, cool. So first we'll start with who am I? I'm Bonnie LeBaron, and I absolutely love authentic relating and authentic connecting games. Why would I do this if I didn't love it? So I'm just here to help more people find this outlet of connecting in a real and authentic way. I'm creating a course, a 4-week course, where we'll get an opportunity to go a lot deeper into these authentic connection games. But tonight, I'm ready to give a preview of what it's going to be like to bring these games to the medium of the internet, so we can use them Maybe if we don't have the opportunity to get out and be social, or we don't have the opportunity to interact with people in person, we're bringing these games to the internet, so online, so that you can access them from your computer, from your phone. So tonight will be a preview of that. So yeah, authentic interaction, connection, communication has been something I've been studying for a long time. I'm a twin, so I've had the opportunity to practice for a long time. I'm an authentic relating games facilitator here in Austin, Texas, where we have one of the largest authentic relating games communities in the world. And I love this stuff. I went to school for this stuff, and I am so happy to bring it to you. So again, we're trying a new software. If anything stops working, just let me know, and we'll take care of that. And so what's our agenda today? We're going to, should I keep talking? Okay. So real quick, we'll just go over, you couldn't see that the whole time. Oops. Sorry, we're dealing with the screen share option. We should go to this other one. Here we go. Okay. So here we go. This is what you should have been seeing this whole time. So I hope you can see my, thanks for bearing with us tonight, guys. New software, so we're keeping ourselves on our toes here. Okay, so here's our agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about why we're playing authentic relating games. What's the point of authentic connection games? Why do we want to play them? Why? What's the reason? So what's the problem in the world? Next, we're going to talk about you know, what we can gain from them, but then really we're going to dive right in and go ahead and play some authentic connection games through the internet. So we won't spend too much time talking here, but just so we know, why do we do these? Well, there's a problem in today's world. We're disconnected, not everyone, but you know, often we go through life and we go through our days and we're not allowing ourselves to fully express our truth. We might be scared to interact with other people in a real way. Often we go to work, and maybe the most meaningful conversation that we'll have at work will be about whether the printer's working, or we don't really know how to communicate with people in our offices or in the workplace effectively, so that we get that deep and meaningful fulfillment. So a lot of the times in our day we hear the same questions, right? How are you? Good. What do you do? Work. How's your day? Good. So we're kind of missing a big point when we're not allowing for more real and authentic connection. So we're just here to explore what it's like when we do ask different questions, when we do allow ourselves to come and think outside of the box here. So I know a lot of us will use things like Facebook or other social media to kind of bridge that gap in our connection problem in today's world. And sometimes that'll leave us feeling even more overwhelmed or more stressed out because we're looking at other people communicating and not getting that connection. Other times we'll seek it maybe just from a partner or spouse, when really maybe we just need other relationships and connections in our lives, or just the ability to be able to speak our truths effectively. So these games are a solution. This is a place we're creating a container where, you know how at work, you might not be able to be yourself, maybe even with our families, maybe at school. However we spend our time in our days, we might not always be able to be ourselves. So this is a playground where it's different than the rest of the world. We're going to learn skills that we can take into the rest of the world. But this is just like a playground for us to experience our real feelings and connect with other people about what we are feeling. So we move through our authentic feelings, and we can then bring these skills out into the world to create the meaningful relationships that we want. So we can get past small talk and figure out what it's like to feel connected. Like I said, they're transformational games. We can take off our masks. If there's anything that we're hiding, I know that hiding can be cause a lot of pain and discomfort for people. So this is a space where we can let go of whatever it is we're hiding, or at least let other people know. Maybe there's something you want to share that you just can't share with anyone else. So this is a place where we want to connect. So we're here to practice. Yeah, so here's some of the things that our games will do. Bridging the gap. And just some more things that we're going to get from playing these games. Create the interactions that we want in our lives, communication skills. Okay, so I know that you might be saying things like, yeah, but I don't have time. Maybe you're saying, I don't have the skills to communicate or connect with other people. Maybe you're saying, I just can't, I don't have anyone to practice with. How am I going to create meaningful connection if I don't have anyone to practice with? Maybe you feel like people just don't understand you, and you don't know how to make people understand, and you don't know how it feels to be understood. So maybe you feel shy, or oftentimes people feel like we don't deserve meaningful connection with ourselves and other people, or we might not even believe that it exists in this world today. So I know that these are a lot of the blocks, the barriers that we might be facing today. So I believe, and I'm proposing, that authentic connection games are an answer to all of these problems, and especially because we're bringing them online. So we are able to get through the barrier of the I don't have time, or I don't have anyone to practice with, or I don't have the skills. All right, cool. So we got through that part. So here, you might be asking, okay, Bonnie, so how the heck are we going to actually create this? How do we do this? Well, to create this container, or to create this playground, I like to say, we have a few agreements. So if you want to be here and be present in this space, these are a few agreements that we're all agreeing on, and this is to create and to set this container. So the agreements you can download also through the webinar Jam, the software. You should be able to access those. So if you haven't heard anything I've said through this whole webinar, here's the important part right before we start playing the games. So the first one is respect yourself. So if we're all going to be in this container together, if we're creating this playground for authentically exploring our feelings, we would like to respect ourselves. So what does that mean? What that means is you are your main priority. If you have any bodily or emotional needs that are keeping you from being like fully present, then go take care of those needs. So if you would like to opt out of a game or a certain phrase that we're working with, you can always opt out, and that's okay. But the more that we know that each person is taking care of themselves and doing what we need to respect ourselves, then we can all feel a little more safe in this container. We don't have to feel like we're having to accommodate other people. We know that everybody here is doing what they need to take care of themselves, to respect themselves. Cool. So the next one is lean into your edge. So in this space, it's edgy for me to talk about this, by the way, but in this space, we're going to be exploring all of our feelings. So there might be some parts that feel a little bit edgy to you. Maybe it doesn't always feel comfortable to talk about how you authentically feel. So this is a space where we allow you to lean into that edge. I'm not saying you have to jump over the edge and run 5 miles down it, but just allow yourself to feel all of the feelings that arise. fear, anger, joy. You might feel things more than normal. And in this space, we're okay with that there's going to be some uncomfortable or maybe edgy things that come up. So it's okay to allow yourself to have the full feelings of those. We're still respecting ourselves. Respecting ourselves is number one. So we're not trying to push you to the edge or anything. We're just allowing space for authenticity, which could bring up some edgier things for you in order to move through them. So the next one is to be present. Being present just means to remain connected to your own sensations and emotions during the games. So during the games, feel our physical bodies, feel our emotional bodies. We're staying connected. That also means if you really want to be present here, you might silence your cell phone or anything that you need to be present. And for me, I need to have my water close by to be able to be fully present here. So maybe you might want some water. The next agreement is confidentiality by request. This means if you want something confidential, all you have to do is ask for it. Also means that if you're here in this space and someone asks for confidentiality, we will respect what they say and keep that confidential. So that also means that not to assume it's confidential. Anything you say, if you want it confidential, it's like practice for the real world, you'll ask for it. And the last one is check your assumptions. So what this means, particularly, someone might start talking about a problem or a challenge that they're facing. And you might notice that you have an urge to coach that person or to tell that person advice. In this space, we're going to check our assumptions. So we'll check with that person before we give advice. We would check with that person, hey, I want to give you advice right now. Is that okay with you? And we'll leave it up to them whether, and be ready if the person says, no, actually, I don't really want advice right now. I just want to be able to talk about this. And so that is something that we're leaving space for. So it doesn't mean you can't coach or give advice. It just means that you would check the assumption that that's what the person is looking for. So again, this is practice for real life. Cool. So let's go ahead so those are the agreements, and we're going to go ahead and jump into our webinar now, or the games. The pop-up. Oh, I don't know what you mean. Sorry, you're having technical difficulties again. Thanks for sticking with us. Yeah. Oh. What is that for? What are you looking for? Oh, so I don't understand what you mean. Okay. Or you can do it if not. Oh. I don't know. I don't understand what you're saying. So if you need help, or if you want, okay, you're saying I need to tell them to press add to cart. Okay, so if you want to see the PDF documents, press the add to cart button to get access to those. Is what I am learning right now. Okay. Alrighty, thanks for putting up with the technical difficulties there. And we're going to go ahead and go into the games now. And I need to find my chat box because I haven't been able to see what you all are saying. Okay, I can see people. Alrighty. So we're going to start with a quick drop-in. So we'll just allow ourselves to close our eyes and get comfortable for a minute. I know for me that was really rocky, so I'm feeling kind of ungrounded. So let's take a moment to get grounded before we jump in with everybody here. So we'll allow ourselves to close our eyes, allow ourselves to feel our breath. Whatever you do to get grounded, to feel comfortable, to feel connected, I invite you to do that now. And we'll allow ourselves to become present in this moment. We'll begin to notice if we can feel our bodies, if we feel any sensations anywhere in our bodies. Maybe there's somewhere that feels good, maybe there's somewhere that's achy. We can just notice. Even say it out loud if you want. If you notice anything in your physical body right now, you can say, I notice my foot on the ground. I notice that one of my feet is a little bit colder than the other foot. I notice I just laughed. So we'll take a moment to become present with anything we notice in our bodies. I notice I just took a big, deep breath in. I notice my ears just perked up because I can hear the train going by. So becoming present with everything we physically notice in our bodies. And now we'll take this next moment to notice anything we're emotionally feeling in our bodies. Maybe it's something good or maybe it's not. Allow anything that's coming up, moving through all of the feelings that we feel authentically. What are our authentic feelings right now? Maybe the truth is we don't feel good right now. Maybe we feel amazing right now. Can we allow ourselves to lean into any authentic feelings that are coming up? Maybe we feel scared. What does that feel like? Each time an emotion arises, simply ask ourselves after, what does that feel like? What does it feel like to feel scared? Where do I feel that in my body? Do I feel it in my heart? In my belly? In my toes? I feel excited. Where do I feel that in my body? What does excited feel like? Now begin to notice if it changes, if the emotions are changing or if they're just staying the same. We'll take just a few more moments here. Clicking around looking for, here we go. Alrighty. So we should be feeling, or we might be feeling nice and dropped in right now. And maybe dropped in means uncomfortable to us right now. And that's okay. We're going to welcome all of our feelings. And we're going to dive right in with a few sentence stems. So while you're typing these, feel free to also be reading what other people are saying in the chat box, because that'll come in handy later. So the first sentence stem, and you don't have to type out the whole thing, but you can just answer it as you hear it, is I feel more comfortable around others when, and you fill in the blank. So for an example of this is, I feel more comfortable around others when I've brushed my teeth in the mornings. If I haven't brushed my teeth, I just don't feel comfortable around people. I feel more comfortable around others when I've gotten at least 20 minutes of meditation in that day. I feel more comfortable around others when I feel more comfortable around others when I know what I'm talking about. So what is it? And I'm trying to see in the chat box, and I can't see your chats again. Let's see. Okay, now I'm seeing them. I feel more comfortable around others when I have already talked. See that? I feel more comfortable around others when I dress more casual. I feel more comfortable around others when I meditate beforehand. Paige, me too. Isn't it funny how it changes how I feel around others? David says, I feel more comfortable when I've slept for 6 hours. And so another way to say this is I feel like I can be more authentic when I've slept for 6 hours or when I've meditated before. So that's just one of our sentence stems today. And these are, oh, Nikki says, I feel more comfortable around others when they smile. Me too. That's a good point. So feel free to be reading what other people are writing and feel free to interact with each other. We're going to go through a series of a few more sentence stems before we jump into the game. Well, this is still a game in my Bonnieland. So the next one is I feel valued when. I feel valued when people tell me that I helped them. I feel valued when I make enough money to feel secure. I feel valued when people tell me they love me. So what really makes you feel valued? Grandpa David says, I feel valued when I'm in front of the room. Awesome, because I enjoy when you're in front of the room too. I can be more authentic when I've accomplished a major task or two before noon. I like that. I like that. I'm more comfortable when I'm feeling happy and fulfilled, Sue says. Cool. So we're moving now to I feel valued when. When do I feel valued? And the last one is something I would like to hear said to me. So something I'd like to hear someone say to me. You don't have to think about who that someone is, but what do you want to hear? I feel valued when people open up to me, share their life problems with me. I feel valued when Jane says, "Gotta think about that one." Yeah, so often we don't know what makes us feel valued. How are we going to feel valued if we don't know what makes us feel valued? So that this is a real question here. So feel free to take your time with it. I feel more comfortable and authentic when I express gratitude. I do too, Sue. Yeah, so take a moment and allow ourselves to really feel into what does it feel like to feel valued and what makes me feel valued. And if you are tired of this one, we're going to move on to something I'd like to hear said to me. So something I'd like to hear said to me is you are valued. Something I'd like to hear said to me is you are so, Kitty Cat says, you are so loved. I love that. So the exercise in this is to, once you identify what it is that, that you want to hear said to you, say it out loud. Hear yourself say it. Absorb those words. Hmm. Something I'd like to hear someone say to me is, wow, you lost so much weight. Sad but true. Not sad. That's a great point. Something I would like to hear someone say to me is, here's $10,000. Like, allow ourselves to, think big. Maybe here's $100,000. Allow ourselves to think big here. What do we actually want to hear someone say to us? And as we're doing this, remember, we're staying present with each of the emotions that we feel that's coming up as we do this. Allowing ourselves to feel into those emotions. What does it feel like to hear these words, I feel valued? I'm loving reading all of these responses. Nikki says she'd like people to, let's see. I feel more comfortable around others when I've taken a shower. Me too. Isn't that funny? And it's funny how, like, I felt a little bit nervous saying that out loud just now, but once I did, it felt kind of good. It's like, hey, we all need to take showers, right? So one thing that came up for me the first time I did these exercises was that, like, I didn't even realize how much more grumpy I was if I was around people and hadn't brushed my teeth or hadn't gotten my shower time in. And so just recognizing, what does it take for us to be our authentic selves, and how does that affect us in our lives daily? Cool. So throughout the week, allow yourself to continue asking these questions. What makes me feel valued? What do I want to hear people say to me? Or what do I want to hear said to me in general? Cool. Nikki, you are fantastic, woman. Michelle, I know you can do big things. Just keep believing in yourself. Michelle, I do know you can do big things, and keep believing in yourself. So feel free to say these things back to yourself. I put the outline on here so that you can practice saying them back to yourself. Okay, we're gonna jump in now to we call this is a fun game. We call this the cocktail story game, or the elevator story game. And this game, the way this works is that we're going to take a moment to type in, or just to feel it. If you don't feel like typing it, that's okay. But what is your elevator story? So what an elevator story is that's the 2 or 3 minute story that we use to explain who we are. So if we were in an elevator with someone and someone said, who are you? Or what do you do? It doesn't necessarily have to be what do you do, but it's the story that we use, the words that we use to explain ourselves to the rest of the world or to the other people. So what is that story? So take a moment. If you would like, you can close your eyes and take a moment and get centered on what are the words we use to explain some people call this a cocktail story. So if you're at a cocktail party and someone asks you who you are, what do you do? What do you tell them? If you're in an elevator, who you are, what do you do, what do you tell them? Feel free to type it in to the chat box. So an example of this is my elevator story is I'm Bonnie LeBaron, and I am figuring out a way to put authentic connection games online. I teach and facilitate meditation. I facilitate authentic relating games here in Austin, Texas. I'm very passionate about self-care. So what is your story that you share? What are the words that you use to explain yourself to the world? And don't worry, I know that this story can cause a lot of anxiety. I don't know about you, but often when someone asks me like my story, sometimes I want to turn around and run because I don't know my story. Or sometimes, I know my story, but there's so many different pieces of it. How am I going to portray it in just 2 minutes. So it makes me feel really awkward and uncomfortable. So if you're feeling any of those feelings right now, it's okay. I understand. And don't worry, we're going to let go of this story shortly. David, here's a coffee something. You deserve it. David, I'll make sure to get you a coffee next time I see you. So I'm not seeing the stories, but it might be because it's taking an extra moment for you to type them all. So it doesn't have to be super long. Just an idea of what's your story. Here's the keys to your brand new Jag, Sue. I'd love to hear that too. I know a lot of people don't really like describing themselves. Christian says, I don't really like describing myself. Well, we're going to let it go in a second. So this is just the beginning part of this process. So Kimberly says, I'm a mom, I have 4 kids, and I'm a nurse. Let's see, the rest I'm trying to figure out. Cool. Michael says, something I'd like to hear to me is, oh, keep up the good work. Michael, keep up the good work and good job. Jane says, I'm on the lower key time of life, new sort of semi-retired compared to the stress of my life in my past. Cool. So feel free to, David just says, go to my website. But what is your story? What are the words you use? And allow ourselves to be present with the uncomfortable feelings that this story brings up. The story about me is described like this. I'm a mystery. I am Jack Sparrow. Ooh, I love that. I'm reading. Let's see. Okay. Jane, Mom, it says, she says that she lost us, so there might be an error going on. Okay, the chat box is still working, so we're still just typing and talking about our story, the story we use to explain who we are to the world. So whatever that story is to you, and try and read some other people's if you can catch other people's stories. Yeah, Paige says she's still working on her story. It can just be a little piece of your story. It doesn't have to be the whole story. David says, I tell digital stories about people who, do a bunch ways other people can appreciate and engage participation and interaction using everyday moments with elegance and style. Sue says, I'm founding a ranch for children with autism and Asperger's. Sue also says, I have overcome great illness and gratitude. And in gratitude, I want to share holistic measures that can help others. Cool. Awesome story, Sue. So Michelle says she's a college student studying environmental geography and horticulture. Cool. I love singing and rock music and creating beautiful things. I want to travel the world and bring awesome. Let's see, bring people together. Okay, looks like a couple of people. Jake. Oh, I just saw Jake in here. I don't know if you just jumped in, but welcome. You missed the fun part. No, I'm just kidding. So, so now we're going to do a quick check-in. How do we feel explaining that story? What authentic feelings came up for us in that moment? Feel free to type it, talk about it. What did I feel? I really didn't like sharing that. I really love sharing that. I really feel uncomfortable with how it is to share my story. So allow ourselves to notice that. Cool. So now Nikki says, let's see, my name is Nikki. I loved your work. Okay, cool. So now we're going to allow ourselves, if you would like, I invite you to close your eyes, but you don't have to. But we're going to take a moment now. So we just brought up that story. We might love the story. We might not like the story. Either way, we're going to allow ourselves to let go of that story. So allow ourselves to, if you'd like to close your eyes to do this, you can. Um, and allow ourselves just for a moment to let go of the story. Let go of the words. Let go of all of the uncertainty. What happens when we allow ourselves to let go of the words we use to share ourselves with the world? Can we let go of that story? And now that the words are no longer there, what is still there? What's still present when the words are no longer there? What does it feel like to let go of this story? And I'm going to say a sentence stem and allow whatever comes up to come up. And the sentence stem is, if you really knew me, you would know. What would we know if we really knew you? What's still there when we let go of maybe trying to impress people, or the story that we, use all the time to explain ourselves? When we let go of that story, what comes up for us? And feel free to type it into the chat. So the sentence stem here is, if you really knew me, you would know. So an example of this is, if you really knew me, you would know that I will only work a job where I'm able to follow my passions. If you really knew me, you would know. So that was kind of like a more of a surface level, if you really knew me. So feel free now to allow ourselves to go even like a step more vulnerable than that one. So how do you know if it's vulnerable? Usually our heart, we have a physical reaction, right? Our heart will start to flutter. So if you really knew me, you would know that I sucked my thumb till I was in 5th grade. Feel a little flutter on that one. So feel free to share something that maybe you don't normally share with people. If you really knew me, you would know. What would we know if we really knew you? If you really knew me, you would know you would know, let's see. I'm a master networker. All I do is talk with people. How really smart I am. You would know how much I do really care. Sue says, what if we don't want to let go of that story? Well, the funny thing is, you don't have to let go of the story. What we're doing here is letting go of the words. So we can allow the feelings that we're having, can we allow the feeling to stay without having to use the word to portray who we are? So without having to use the words. And the other thing, Sue, if you don't want to let go of the story, that's cool too, because maybe it's just something to look at in the sense that, like, the story that you use to explain yourself is also the story that you want in your life. So it's a nice affirmation uh, that you're doing something right, right? So Sue says, if you really knew me, you would know how big my heart is, how I love people deeply, how I care about helping others. So yeah, so Sue, I don't mean you have to like let go of that story, like push it away, but for a lot of people, the story that they use to share themselves with the world is not succinct with their authentic self. So if the story, if you felt like angry about having to let go of that story, or you're like, wait, I love my story, then that's awesome. And this is an opportunity to look at the fact that you're living your authentic life right now. So you're taking the steps to do that. So it's awesome. Jane says that I'm deeply concerned and obsessed about how our culture tortures people in the hospital. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you really knew me, you would know. Cool. So feel free to read other people's, because that'll come in handy later. If you really knew me, you would know I love to express joy. If you really knew me, you would know how much, let's see, how much I think. Let's see, I don't mind the story, but it always seems limiting. Okay, David. So David's saying the story seems limiting. I want what is on my heart to come out more often. So this is the opportunity to recognize what's on our heart without the story, without all those words. If you really knew me, you would know that I'm E.T. If you really knew me, you would know that I want to help people in the past. Cool. So allow ourselves to sit with that for a minute. If you really knew me, what would you know? What do you want people to know? If you really knew me, you'd know I'd rather go shopping than go to parties. Cool. So now, feel free to close our eyes, and I invite you to close your eyes and just feel our bodies, our emotions. What does it feel like after maybe getting a little bit vulnerable with other people? What does it feel like after we started off with more of the surface level story, and now we've gone a little bit deeper. Now we've gone into more. Where do we feel that in our bodies, and what is it like? Cool. So as we're wrapping up here, so this last part of this is maybe there was someone in here that you were reading some of their stories, you were reading what they were sharing and what they were saying. So if you read anything that stuck out with you tonight about someone, the sentence stem now is what I think I get about you. So an example of this is Sue. What I think I get about you is that you are totally aligned with your purpose and your passion and figuring out how to create it into reality. So, so if you saw someone in here and you'd like to type to them, something I think I get about you, now is the time to do that. So here's where we get to actually relate and communicate. I want to bring up the point that this is through a webinar. When we do bring the rest of these games online, we'll be on a video camera, so we'll have multiple little video cameras and we'll actually be able to see and interact with each other a little bit easier. This is just to get a taste of what it's like to get authentic with other people through this medium of the webinar. So this is just a little taste. So if there's anything that you get about someone after sitting in this community of people for the last hour almost, go ahead and share that with that person. What I think I get about you. And if someone says something, remember that if someone says, like I use the example of Sue, what I get about you is that you're totally aligned and following your purpose or your passion. You can always change or modify. Maybe Sue says, no, actually I am not, or whatever. So you can feel free to change and modify and let that person know any modifications you would make to what they said. So if you really are, what I think I get about you, we're just before we wrap up here, and then the other one that you can share with people is when you blank, I felt blank. So Michael, when you said I feel honest and authentic sharing, I felt happy and excited. And before we end here, I want to let people know that we have a Facebook group now up. So you can join our Facebook group, Authentic Connection Games Facebook group. We're going to be doing this again. Also, feel free, here's our networking and just, you know, we're getting to know each other, and if you feel comfortable, feel free to post your Facebook link into the chat if you would like to be able to, maybe if you want to connect with the people in this chat room. So remember, we're making connections here with ourselves, but also with other people. So I did create the Facebook group so that everyone can interact that way, and also so you can know about upcoming events. So we're going to be having some Google Hangouts. We have a Google Hangout this Friday, and the if you would like to register for that, please, we have to do it before midnight tonight, so I can organize that before Friday. So there's the link to that is in your email. We sent that out to you. So if you would like to be part of that on Friday Google Hangout, go ahead and register tonight. We do have a 4-week course coming up. We have a couple other courses coming up where we will be actually interacting with people outside of the medium of a webinar where we'll actually be having have a little video camera, and we'll also be playing these games through our phones, so through different apps, so you can take it with you. And yeah, I'm really excited to keep going. So it is about 9 o'clock, so I said we'd be done now. Feel free to stick around in the chat box, and if you still have something you're typing out to someone, what I think I get about you, go ahead and keep typing that out. But thank you so much for showing up to this webinar. I give the assignment at the end of this, if you would like. The assignment is to do 5 minutes of mirror work. So mirror work, did anybody do the mirror work from last time? And feel free to post your experiences about that in the chat box. But 5 minutes of mirror work, connecting with ourselves. So that just means looking at ourselves in the mirror, and whatever comes up for you, whether it be just looking and being like, oh wow, I need to pluck my eyebrows, or whether you want to have an uplifting conversation with yourself, or just a meditation. Essentially, it's a meditation. And a lot of us are avoiding looking at ourselves. We're avoiding connecting with ourselves. So this is an opportunity to do that. So I invite you to practice 2 to 5 minutes of mirror work. And you can even set your timer for 2 minutes, and just be with ourselves for a moment and see what comes up. And often it gets a lot easier to interact and connect with other people if we can interact and connect with ourselves. So again, this was just a quick preview of some of the games. In the actual courses, will be much more interactive. And yeah, feel free to post your Facebooks to get connected. I know that David is here from the Law of Attraction group we have here in Austin, so you might want to post that information. Sue, if you want to post anything about the ranch, and if anybody has any other announcements. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming to the webinar tonight, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. And since it's 9 o'clock, we'll see if we have any. I'll stick around a couple minutes to see if there's anything else going on in the chat box. And sharebacks. The last thing we do here is sharebacks. So what was that like for you? So feel free to be authentic and type in the box, in the chat box. What was that like for you to go through that experience? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Was there parts of it you liked? Was there parts of it you didn't like? How could it have been better? Or just what was it like? Feel free to post here. Okay, so I'll post the Google Hangout link, yeah, on on the Facebook. Okay, yes, I will do that on the Facebook. Okay, so yeah, feel free to. Jane says it's too short. Well, we said it would only be an hour long, so if you want to do more, just make sure to stay registered for our email list. And I sent an email out with those links, so we'll keep you posted about all of the events coming up. I'm going to stick around, and so we can all stay in this chat for an extra minute, and while we do these sharebacks of what that experience was like for you. Ashton says, thank you. Oh, feel free to add Ashton. Yeah, so the share back part is kind of important just to notice, what did that feel like in a real and authentic way? It's pretty cool. It feels good to be part of a group. It does feel good to be part of a group. We're creating a community here, so that's part of the idea. So I'm glad that you noticed that group interaction and what that was like. Make sure to join into the Facebook group to stay connected and interacting. Paige says it does feel good to be connecting. It does feel good to be connecting. I know. I'm like, oh man, we're done. I don't want to turn this webinar off yet. So, yeah, make sure to add in the Facebook group. We're going to keep doing these sorts of things, these webinars. We're going to move it to the Google Hangout where we can be live on a video together. We're even going to be having courses, so you'll be able to do this on your cell phone. And feel free to journal. Remember to journal about what this was like for you. Feel free to email me and tell me what I did wrong. I'm sure there's a few of those things. David, I'm curious which David it is. I'm not sure the last. I can't see the last name. David saying, I think you have lost weight. I think I have too. Okay, Nikki says, it felt really good. I'm glad I've made it. I love you, Bonnie. Oh, thank you, Nikki. I will see you on the Hangout. Have fun in Santa Cruz. So again, the Hangout, we're done now, but I'm just sticking around in case there's any late chat box things coming through. Anybody explaining the share back of how it feels, what it feels like, whether you enjoyed it, whether you didn't. Oh, Dave Lenning. Thank you. I'm working on it. Christian says he can't wait for the Hangout. Yes, so make sure to register for the Hangout before the night is over so I can get that organized. David says, does the Hangout have a set time? Well, I have to see how many people register. If it's under 7 people, we will all be in the same room at the same time, and that'll be at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If more than 7 or so people register, then we're going to have to break out into 2 or maybe even 3 groups. So I'll be sending out the email early tomorrow morning on how many people we get registered and whether we'll be able to do just one group or whether we'll need to do multiple groups. So again, so make sure to sign up so that I know so I can organize that accordingly. And yeah, sorry, you have to be flexible with that only because we're just trying to get this all set up. So if flexibility doesn't work for you on Friday, I totally understand, and there will be more opportunities to do this. So don't feel like this is, you know, the only time that's going to happen. We are just testing out all of our avenues here of how to make this most effective right now. And so yeah, but it's possible it'll be at 8 o'clock. And if you have a specific time, Dave Lenning, that you need, just let me know, and I'll make sure to put you in that right time group. That would work for you. It'll just be an hour long, the Google Hangouts. Christian, thank you, Christian. Cool. It looks like we got all the comments. If there's any last things anybody would like to share, feel free. And yeah, I love doing this. I'm so glad you showed up. Oh, well, now people are complimenting my eyes. I guess I'll sit around and you can compliment my eyes. I'm just kidding. If there's any other input about the show, I'm open to it. His wife may have some other plans too. I understand that. Yeah. There will be more opportunities for the Google Hangout. This Friday is just a quick jump on and see what it's like to have the videos going, and but there will be more, so I understand it's a little last minute. Ashton, you're awesome. I've been seeing your things pop up, and I was trying to read them quick enough to say hi. You are awesome, and Ashton's here with the Paradigm Shift Austin, so if you want to get involved in that community. So there's multiple communities represented here. I'm so happy to see that. Cool. All right, I think we got everyone. And this recording will be available, so if you would like to go back through and look at any of your answers. Christian is asking when the Hangout is. The Hangout is on Friday, but you must register tonight before midnight if you want to go to the Hangout. And it's free, but we just have to get you registered before midnight. So that link was emailed to you, and if you still don't have that link, I will get it for you and let me know if you still don't have it. So it was emailed out. And I'll post it also in the Facebook group, so you can get to the link that way. And again, you have to register for it just before midnight tonight. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, team. It was so great to see you, and I can't wait to do this again. Signing out with lots of love and gratitude for each of you. I'll see you soon.